Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're deconstructing the absolutely massive, localized business recipe behind Domino's Pizza in India. Now, if you think you know this global pizza giant just from, ordering a late-night slice in your hometown, well, you're in for a pretty big surprise. The way this brand operates in the Indian market reveals a completely brilliant strategy of cultural adaptation and digital innovation.
To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this operation, just think about this number, 2,000. The master franchise in India, which is operated by Jubilant FoodWorks, currently manages over 2,000 Domino's outlets across hundreds of cities. I mean, that is a staggering footprint. It literally makes India one of the brand's absolute largest and most vital international markets. They haven't just opened a few stores here and there, they've basically blanketed the subcontinent, really riding the wave of rising disposable incomes and a massive, booming demand for convenient food delivery.
So, let's take a quick look at the menu for today's explainer. We're going to cover the rise of Domino's India, slicing up the target market, a perfectly localized menu, the digital delivery ecosystem, competitors and market challenges, and finally, we'll look at the future of fast pizza.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, the rise of Domino's India.
Going all the way back to their market entry in 1996, Domino's didn't just casually participate in the quick-service restaurant space. They actively shaped the whole thing. They recognized a massive fundamental shift happening, rapid urbanization, and an emerging middle class that was suddenly super hungry for reliable, quick dining options that fit a faster-paced modern lifestyle. By positioning themselves early on as the ultimate go-to for fast delivery, they essentially laid the entire groundwork for the modern food delivery culture we see in India today.
Okay, moving on to part 2, slicing up the target market.
What's really fascinating here is how they managed to capture an incredibly broad demographic. They are laser-focused on that 15 to 45-year-old range. We're talking about Gen Z students pulling their pocket money, millennials grabbing a quick working lunch, families looking for a totally hassle-free dinner, all the way up to those massive corporate orders. They've managed to create this brand positioning that just screams, "We are for you," perfectly aligning with fast food lovers, busy professionals, and highly value-conscious digital consumers all at the same time.
And crucially, they aren't just sticking to the big metros anymore. It's actually amazing to watch their aggressive push deep into Tier 2 and increasingly Tier 3 cities. You see, as internet penetration continues to rise in these smaller cities, an entirely new, massive emerging market of value-conscious consumers is just waiting there. And Domino's, they want to be the very first major pizza brand these folks order from. This brings us perfectly to part 3, a perfectly localized menu.
They knew from day one that serving up a basic American-style pepperoni and cheese pizza just wasn't going to build an empire in India. So what did they do? They completely rewrote the playbook. They introduced a hyper-localized menu absolutely bursting with regional spices. Think paneer mahani, pepi paneer, Indi tandoori paneer, and the chicken dominator. Plus, knowing a huge portion of the Indian population is vegetarian, they leaned heavily into veg options and regionally inspired sides. They literally didn't force the market to adapt to their product. They adapted their product entirely to the market.
But, a great menu only really works if people can actually afford it. Think about the last time you hunted for a promo code. Well, Domino's bakes that value right directly into their strategy. They use super affordable entry-level pizzas, everyday combo deals, student-friendly pricing, and really aggressive festival discounts. It's a pure high-volume game, making sure that Domino's is always viewed as an accessible, everyday treat rather than some rare, expensive luxury.
Next up, part 4, the digital delivery ecosystem.
Think about the last time you ordered food on your phone. Domino's mobile-first strategy completely owns this customer journey from start to finish. When you use their app, you just enter this seamless flow. Effortless mobile ordering, instant digital payment processing, that highly addictive real-time order tracking we all love, and finally, fast and consistent delivery. By keeping you locked into their own digital ecosystem instead of losing you to a third-party delivery app, they own the customer data, they control the entire experience, and they build direct, long-lasting loyalty.
And once you actually have the app downloaded, their AI-driven recommendations instantly start adapting to your personal tastes. They hit you with location-based promos and targeted push notifications right when hunger strikes, like, say, right in the middle of a big cricket match or on a busy Friday night. Add in their interactive social media contests across platforms like Instagram and YouTube, and honestly, they essentially operate like a high-end tech company that just happens to deliver pizza.
All right, let's look at part 5, competitors and market challenges.
Because obviously Domino's isn't just fighting other pizza places. They're constantly defending their market leader status against massive international heavyweights.
We're talking McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, and of course Pizza Hut. But right now, the real threat is actually coming from below. It's the agile local players like Lapinos and a massive, massive surge in independent cloud kitchens. So how do they compete with that? They lean hard into their core advantages, the promise of faster delivery, that unmatched digital ecosystem we just talked about, and that highly localized, affordable menu.
Their vast network of 2,000 stores and incredible brand recognition are obviously massive strengths. But it's kind of a double-edged sword. It creates a really heavy dependence on delivery, which puts an immense strain on their operations during peak times. Plus, running a physical network this huge exposes them to constantly rising operating costs. And as global supply chains fluctuate, they face this constant threat of increasing ingredient costs that can easily cut right into those super tight value pricing margins.
Which leads us to our final section, Part 6, the future of fast pizza.
While continued investment in their digital platforms and that aggressive expansion into Tier 3 cities will absolutely drive long-term growth, the operational marathon is definitely getting harder. Costs are rising across the board, and competition from both local and international brands is absolutely fierce. But perhaps the most fascinating hurdle looking ahead is the modern Indian consumer's rapid shift toward healthier, clean eating options. It's a massive trend, and it's one that traditionally clashes pretty hard with fast food pizza.
We've seen how brilliantly Domino has adapted to local tastes and built this seemingly unstoppable digital delivery machine. But as dietary habits evolve more and more toward healthier eating, and nimble cloud kitchens keep popping up on literally every corner, can a fast food pizza empire pivot quickly enough to remain the undisputed king of convenience? Or will the secret sauce that got them to 2,000 stores need a fundamental rewrite? That is the billion-dollar question.